Hello, I'm Timothy Linsdau. I'm a video producer and a Christian, and on to the politics and civics and struggles of the day. Today I'd like to talk about what is the agonizing abortion battle today. The agonizing abortion battle today is reported from Virginia. An abortion bill sparks a Republican furor. It seems to be divided between Republicans and Democrats. One wants women to have the choice of being able to destroy their babies in the womb. And now with some of these laws, they'd like to be able to destroy them right up to the moment of birth. And even after. It's incredible where we've gotten with this this argument since Roe v. Wade in 73. I think and of course the irony of that is Norma Nelson McCubby, the plaintiff in the suit, had a pseudonym of Jane Roe. So Roe versus Wade, that's where that came from. But the irony is, later on she became a Roman Catholic and an activist in the pro-life movement against abortion. Late, but that's it was all about her not wanting this birth. I believe the child was adopted later after birth. So there you are. But anyway, here in Virginia, a delegate there, Kathy Tran, had introduced a bill in committee that would take safeguards off abortion and allow it right up to the time of birth. And the governor, Ralph Northam, had supported it. He said he was going to defend it, and President Trump was outraged over that because he thought he knew Ralph Northam that he would be more leaning towards pro-life or supporting life of the baby. That turned into a blow-up. He's a pediatric neurologist, which makes it kind of strange. I'm sure he's worked with a lot of kids. And that is strange. I remember the doctor that was the attending doctor for my son's birth, both my sons. And my mother worked in the hospital, so she knew that doctor quite well. And since they were born in the early and middle 70s, just after Roe v. Wade, he used to get information on abortion and services and that type of thing. And my mother used to remark that he would always be tearing up this rather vociferously, this information that was sent to him. He was definitely against abortion. And so there we are, and for that situation. But this sparked a real blowback from Republicans for the governor doing this and for this delegate doing this. Interestingly enough, she was known as the first woman in the Virginia legislature to breastfeed her baby. Let's see if I can find this specifically. One of the record, yeah. She was elected that year in the first Virginia legislator to nurse her infant on the House floor, which I assume would have to be the first woman. Couldn't be a man, right? Of course, we could argue about that nowadays. But apparently she wanted to loosen it. Now, just after having a brand new baby, she wants to loosen up the abortion laws. Isn't there an irony to that? It seems that way. But the continued division amongst many Americans, in particular Democrats and Republicans, just rages on. I think it's recently New York passed a law just like this, the New York legislature. And then there was one of the high-rise buildings in New York had a tower on it that was, and I think one of the bridges were colored in pink in celebration of this same liberal abortion law, that it was such a great benefit for women. And it gets confused in our country that's focused on liberty, that you should be able to free to do anything you want to. But what about that poor baby? I mean, is that baby a dog or a cat in the womb, or is it a human being? Think about that. And why would we be celebrating killing babies? As some have said, one of the reasons that certain people support immigration vociferously, and even illegal immigration, is because we're running out of people, because we're killing so many babies in the wombs. It's up to about 60 million abortions now. That's a lot of people that have been eliminated. And I know there'll be all kinds of reasons, such as DNA damage. I've seen several movies on that subject where only perfect people were allowed to be born. But, none of us are perfect. We all have ailments and issues. And, all should be given the opportunity to live and be loved rather than killed in the womb. In some of the most heinous ways of killing a human being. Bodies torn to pieces, soaked in solutions that burn them alive. Stab with scissors into the back of their head. I mean, it's just horrendous when you hear what's done. And then, of course, we had the situation where that undercover activist was filming leading people in abortion clinics that were talking about selling baby parts. I mean, can't one see how the atrociousness of that? It's amazing. But I think the pushback for more liberal abortion laws with Democrats is probably coming from the fact that Trump is putting more conservative judges on the Supreme Court. And I suspect that Democrats are seeing that as a threat, that if the court becomes conservative enough, that they will put Roe v. Wade out of business, in other words, abortion out of business. Some of the arguments I've heard on that is, yes, the whole thing should have been put back to states to sort out. And many have. I mean, there's many different laws. It's just like this one here. Certain restrictions, and so forth. Some could even, I don't know if they can ban it. Maybe they can. But if you get it down within the state to where people have the chance to really voice an opinion about what they think and what's right and what's wrong. That's one of the problems with having so much power in the federal government that our founding fathers did not like. I was reading a little bit on the abortion law, and that it really is not, according to some, supportable in our Constitution. Definitely not supportable in the eyes of God, and not in my opinion, but that's what I think it is. It's not supportable. Those babies can be adopted. Many people are looking for kids to adopt. I've seen some kids with like Down syndrome that are quite healthy and well and have a life and are loved by their families and loved by others. So this rages on, but and I suspect the Republicans are pushing back hard against the Democrats pushing back hard over this issue, and it'll rage on just the same as the euthanasia issue will. One side seems to favor death, and one side seems to favor life. So the agonizing abortion battle continues, sadly enough. I'm Timothy Linsdau. Like and comment on my video. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you.